Hey, Elevators, welcome back to another episode. We are so happy that you are listening, watching, and tuning in wherever you are. For those who are listening, I'm Amanda Booz.
I'm Crystal Vega, and we're very excited for a special guest we have coming up. But before we get into that, make sure you guys are leaving us a SpeakPipe note on our website. You're sharing this episode with a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Make sure you're leaving us reviews on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the podcast. We're so excited to have you back, to be back for another week of Elevating.
That's right. And it was just, well, you know what? Happy belated Cinco de Mayo. I know you guys are probably getting this episode after it has happened. Did you get into anything for Cinco de Mayo? Did you make some tacos? Like, what were you doing yesterday?
Did
you
not.
do margaritas?
I am in my routine. I'm staying
Girl.
in my bag.
Yes.
And I am not moving. I did
love
eat some
that.
chips yesterday though. I did eat some chips on Cinco de Mayo, and that probably wasn't the best thing. However, I went to the gym, I went to work, I got my projects done. I'm very happy staying in my bag, staying in my routine, staying in my little pocket, doing my thing.
I love that. That's amazing. I love that. Look, same here. I went to the gym, and I'm gonna be honest, I think life deserves balance. I did have a taco, and
okay.
I had one skinny margarita, just one, just one.
As long
But
as
I
it was
worked
a
out
skinny
really
one.
hard. Yeah, it was very skinny, no sugar. And I also honestly had tequila with no additives in it. I'm being I'm on my way out from drinking. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think I've hit my, okay, I don't want to drink anymore era. And I feel like that will look like for me wine. I'm not even gonna do the mocktails because I won't hold y'all. They're charging like $300 for soda and juice. And I don't love that. I don't love that. I don't love the mocktail culture. I think I can have that at home. I won't pay for that out. I'll just have a nice little glass of Sincere and that's what I will have a glass of wine. But I do think I'm cutting out the hard alcohol. Before this year ends, I promise y'all.
I'm with you. I think neither of us are the type of people that need alcohol to have fun. Like,
No.
once you realize you don't need it, I mean, some people need it. Me, I'm a good time.
Some people definitely need it. I feel like it's 9 a.m. and I got this energy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need a shot. I am the shot. I am the birthday. So we don't need any of that. I agree.
That's right.
I'm good. I don't need that, girl. But yeah, so Taco Tuesday. Did you get to like catch anything from the Met Gala?
No, girl. When I tell you I've been in my pocket working.
Listen, it'd be like that sometimes.
I couldn't judge a look even if I wanted to.
It'd be like that sometimes, girl. I did see some stuff on social. I do feel like I enjoy the theme this year, but listen, I totally get that. It's that season right now. It's that get right season in all ways from anything that you got going on. So I love that. And speaking of getting right, we have the perfect guest joining us. I'm sure you guys, if you are a fan of the She's So Lucky podcast, we have Alfred joining us in a few minutes. Listen, and she definitely speaks a lot about that on her podcast. And it's our first podcast collab, y'all. It's our first podcaster that's actually on our podcast. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into it. Without further ado, I'm gonna introduce our very special guest for today's episode. I don't even know where to start. I mean, a couple months ago, I was on her podcast. Now she's on our podcast, and it just feels so good to have somebody like-minded coming on our show to give y'all so many tips on how she's made herself so lucky and what that actually looks like. We have Alfred, who is a media entrepreneur and a cultural storyteller. She's shaping the future of women-centered narratives. is deeply committed to investing in and supporting women in storytelling, including writers, content creators, and filmmakers. You might know her from her She's So Lucky podcast, formerly Balanced Black Girl, but let's welcome Alfred to Elevators. Hey, girl, hey.
Hey, thank you guys so much
Hey,
for having
Les.
me. Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. We love a girl's girl on Elevators, and you definitely are an elevator at every definition of the word. So thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Oh my God, Les, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but after I went on your podcast, so I secretly work for CBS Miami, and but one of my coworkers was like, I saw you on a podcast. And I was like, did you? She was like, I listen to that podcast all the time. Like, it's so inspiring. And she had so many great things to say about like your podcast and how much she has taken from it. And I was like, oh wow, well, so much for flying under the radar. Thanks, Les. Now everybody know I'm be
Sorry,
doing like
girl.
media outside of work.
Yeah. Oh, that happened
Yeah.
to me when I was in corporate too. Because when I still worked in corporate and I was doing the podcast and stuff, I never said anything about it. And then
Yeah.
I would have people slacking me like, you popped up on my TikTok, or like, is this your podcast? Because I've been listening
Nope.
to it for a while and I didn't realize it was you. And I was like, well,
Oh wow.
oops.
That is hilarious.
That
Look,
is
I'm
too
your
funny.
podcast, it is hilarious. I'm like, your podcast pops up for me all the time, especially on TikTok, on Instagram, all of that. So I'm like, the girls are definitely listening, watching, and getting all the gems. And I really want to start the conversation with asking, like, how did you kind of get into podcasting? I mean, like, when did the She's So Lucky brand like come about? And I know you kind of had like a transition from Balanced Black Girls to She's So Lucky. So we'd love to hear like all of that.
Yeah. I I feel like I need to like fabricate a really good story because I get asked this every day and it's never a good story because when I first started Balance Black Girl, the original name of my podcast, I was literally sitting at my job one day. I was a social media manager at a startup and the idea just popped in my head, like start a podcast, name it Balance Black Girl, interview Black women in wellness. And I literally went on Amazon, bought a microphone and just did it and like launched the show a week later. And it wasn't even like podcasting was something that I'd aspired to do for a long time or like I really thought about it for a long time. I just immediately did it the second I got the idea and never stopped.
That's amazing. You just acted on literally impulse, and sometimes that's all it takes.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times we sit with our ideas and our thoughts, and then somebody else manifests it for us. But I love that you did that, and then look how much success it has brought. So that's incredible. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was actually gonna say, like in terms of your like podcasting and we know it's hard, right? Like
Yeah.
we know it takes a lot of time. Like people we see like the sparks of like when your whatever your project is starts to pop, but they don't see the 7 years that comes before it. Like Fortune and Forbes, people are like, oh my God, you're doing this amazing thing that's so cool right now. And I'm like, I've been doing this since 2017. Where were you 10 years ago? But like what for you was a pivotal moment where you really saw it take off? Because it went from an idea at your desk to being like this is a thing for me. And then you left your career, right? Like you were like, I'm gonna do podcasting full time. What did that pivotal moment look like for you?
What's interesting is that I've never had a pivotal moment. I've never had like a viral moment. All of a sudden, I was put on to something or a few more people along the way.
No, I was gonna say it's funny because I feel like those type of careers have the most longevity. And like when you're in it, it doesn't feel so much, but we see it all the time where something goes viral and it pops, and then tomorrow it's completely gone. So if you, for our listeners, you are in a place where you feel like, oh my God, I'm doing this thing and I don't have like my viral moment, that doesn't mean you're not progressing. And we talk about this like in relation to Tiana Taylor's career. How long has she been doing what
Yep.
she's doing? And it wasn't up until last year where she's now at the Oscars and like doing all these crazy things where we've always known about Tiana Taylor, right? Like we've always been hit, but the world is now like, oh my God, who's this star? And I think those sort of careers where you're building it brick by brick, really, when the pivotal moment does happen, it happens big and it sticks and it stays. It's not like a viral moment or a viral sound that scratches people's brain for a couple months and then nobody thinks about it after a year.
Yeah, I think that there's something to the skill building when something is a really slow build, or even like I worked in corporate America for 13 years before I decided to do content and the podcast full time. And I also think that there was so much value in me spending time working at other companies because I was getting paid to learn. I got to work at
Mhm.
really big companies and small companies and mid-sized companies. And I was a people manager and I got to work in different departments and see how a business was ran from every angle. I learned how to manage people. I learned how to build a team, on someone else's dime and then could apply that to my own business. And I think sometimes we get so set on doing things on our own straight out the gate, but there's actually so much value in being able to actually learn, but it takes time to learn.
No,
It definitely does.
you are so right because and even like when I was working in different jobs or when I work in different areas, it's so important to have that perspective because if not, obviously you're gonna hate it, right? But it's like, what are you gonna learn while you're there? What are you gonna get paid to learn? Like for you, it was social media. And now look, you have your own podcast and you know, like, okay, I learned these skills from where I was, and I can use that now for my own stuff. And I tell people this all the time, like, go to places, take what you need from there, and apply it to your own thing because you're literally getting paid to learn.
It's true.
Exactly.
Very true. Well, listen, I want to say this for any of our listeners who's chiming in, whether you're watching us on YouTube or listening wherever you get your podcast. This is a unique episode because this is our first podcaster to podcaster interview. Like we haven't had like a collaborative podcast with someone else who is a podcaster. So I literally want to know this because I know Crystal and I have a process of how we kind of do things. But like what is your process for selecting like whose voices are being amplified? Because I feel like you have such a great selection of guests that have been on your podcast and like how you kind of like go about choosing that.
Yeah, it's changed a lot over the years. I think the early days when I was first starting my podcast, my first handful of guests were me reaching out to friends and people that were in my immediate community. At that time, I was still living in Seattle, where I'm from. I was very involved in the wellness scene there. So it was me tapping on women who were involved in the Seattle wellness scene or tapping on my online friends who were very involved in wellness. And so in the early days, especially when I didn't know how to interview, I didn't know how to podcast, I wasn't going to try and call up, Michelle Obama when I've done 2 episodes on a little Amazon mic and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to call my friend who I'm already comfortable
Mhm.
talking to and practice and build those reps. And once I got a few months into podcasting, I started getting pitches. And that was really cool because I'm like, oh, I told y'all the origin story. I just started this on a whim. And now somebody wants to be on it and someone wants to be a part of it. That's really cool. So I was accepting
Mhm.
a lot of pitches for a very long time. Now it's a little bit more like vibes. It's more like, what do I want to learn about? Who do I want to talk to? What do I think is interesting and compelling? And what would I be excited to sit down and talk to somebody about for an hour? And so these days, it's a lot more of like me reaching out to people, inviting them on the show. I do receive a lot of pitches, but I don't accept many because a lot of pitches that I receive are either things that we've like covered before in a lot of ways. And maybe it's something we've covered before and like the episode didn't do that well. And I'm like, yeah, no need to do this again. I don't think there's an appetite for this. Or it's just something where I'm like, yeah, that's not that interesting to me. Or like, I'm not the right person to facilitate that conversation. And there's probably another podcast or another person who will be a better facilitator. Like when I get a lot of pitches around things like motherhood and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not the best person to
Mhm.
facilitate like a thoughtful conversation about that. So I don't tend to do a lot of episodes centered on topics like that. But a lot of it is just like, who do I get excited to sit down and talk to and then take it from there?
So that's what I love about podcasting is it's one of those careers, it's one of those things where you literally can create your own reality. So I love that you talked about like having guests that you want and things you want to learn because a lot of things that we want to learn, other people want to learn too. So I really love that you said that point because I think it's very important that we kind of like don't just go against what everybody wants to see. Sometimes we want to see something different, and I think that that's a great perspective to have with that.
That I also think, especially for our listeners, lest we try to give like as many like tips and tricks for them to like take into their life. I think there's something to be said about being strategic with figuring out how you're pitching yourself, whether it's to a podcast or to this new job opportunity, right? It's like, what, when you are doing these things, what are you saying or what are you bringing that's new to the table? What are you bringing that's exciting? What do you think is going to move that conversation forward? Because if not, to your point, it's like you're kind of wasting your time doing these random pitches to like all these different platforms where it's like maybe you should angle this more towards something that's a little more focused towards women or motherhood or something like that.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to double down for our listeners, like when you are doing pitches and really putting yourself out there, be strategic. Think about what you are bringing to the table for that brand and that company or whatever it is, and why is it good? What's the advantage of having you on? Like, what's the point? For real. What's the point?
Yeah,
Straight
and
up.
people don't think about that.
Right.
And I'm going to be totally honest. This is something I have these conversations a lot where like my podcast is a business and I have a lot of stakeholders who I have to keep happy. I need to keep the listeners happy. I have advertisers that I need to keep happy. I have a lot of people who are supporting it. And also my podcast is expensive. Like it's a full audio, video, studio. I have support. Like it costs me thousands of dollars to create.
Mhm.
So if you're not able or prepared to sit down and have a conversation that's going to bring in thousands of dollars of revenue so that I can keep it going, I it just doesn't really make sense. And so I
Mhm.
think for people who are pitching themselves for opportunities, being really clear of not just what is this going to do for me, but also like what are you going to do for the person who you're pitching? How are you going to provide something that's so interesting, so compelling, a piece of information you're willing to share on a show that you're not going to share anywhere else? It has to benefit me too. It's not like a hobby where I'm just like putting a mic in front of everybody who wants one. If I give you a mic, you got to know what to do with it.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
I think people need to really understand that. And I do think people have that value, but leading with that value is really important because I get a lot of pitches that almost have a little bit of a desperate energy where it's like, please, and then I have this book and then I'm doing this thing and I have this course and I need to sell it and I need to be on your show. And like, it could be the best book, it could be the best course, but if that's the energy that you're giving, then I feel a lot of pressure of like, ooh, this is a lot. Now it's my job to sell your book and your course for you, as opposed to being like, here's what I offer, here's how your audience can benefit. Here are
Mhm.
some great topics that have never been done before. Like there's so much more power in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to like, here's how your audience can benefit and so on and so forth, like really look at the history, do your research. Did they already have this topic done? Was it successful? Was it not? Why didn't it work? Do you really want to waste your time doing this pitch? Because I also think we live in a day and age where, quite frankly, everybody thinks they have something to bring to the table. And it sounds good in theory, right? Like, but every table's different. What benefits whomever it is that you're talking to looks very different. So, yeah, I'm with you, Les.
Yeah. Same. I totally agree. And I think honestly, the podcast industry as a whole, from people who are not necessarily in it, can be a little misunderstood. Because I don't think people, and I love that you said you pay thousands of dollars. Like, we've done the same thing. Like, I think that people don't understand how much money it takes to just do one episode.
Hmm.
Like, the cost of the equipment alone, then the personnel you have to hire, then if you have like editors, if you have someone that's doing your social media, like all of that stuff costs. So, like, when you get no shade, no tea, but like a family member or a friend that's like, oh my gosh, I see the successes of your podcast. Like, please have me on. And to you guys' point, it's like, what are you bringing? It's like one of those things where it's like I love you, but no, this is like a job. This is a business. And this is like something I really need to do to sustain. And to that, I wanted to also ask you, Les, because I know we've experienced it. Have you ever like paid for a guest to be on your podcast?
Ooh, I have it. I've never had any sort of monetary exchange. I've never paid anyone to be on my show, and no one's ever paid me to be on the show. I would consider podcasting more like an earned media.
Mm,
Um, like, so yeah, I've never paid anybody to be on. I would love to get to a point where maybe I could afford to like pay for people's travel or something if they're not based in New York or something like that. I'm not there yet. Thankfully, being in a city like New York, most people come here for press tours and I'm able to catch them
Yep.
when they're in town.
yeah.
But yeah, usually there's not any sort of monetary exchange.
Same on our end. And speaking of cost, I think this is a great opportunity for us to kind of talk about the cost of success. I know like all of us to some extent have had to sacrifice something to kind of get where we are or to continue to grow in the direction of where we're trying to be. So I would love for us to talk about like what that looks like for us. Like what have we really had to lose or maybe even gain to be able to get to like the next level?
Besides
Mm,
sleep,
yeah,
Right. Because
those
not getting any of that.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest one. And I mean, I think the biggest cost to success is like the impact on your relationships. I think when
Mm,
you're building something and you're really focused on that, sometimes it can take you away from people that you care about. And it doesn't mean that you don't value that, but it's, you can only do so much. You can only focus on so many things and be in so many places at once. And so I do think at times it can definitely strain your relationships, whether that's friendships or family or with romantic partners or whatever. Um, I think that's something that you're constantly needing to adjust. I mean, I know for me, like, I'm 3,000 miles away from my family, who I
Mhm.
love and miss dearly. But the opportunities that I'm getting now, I wouldn't get if I was in Seattle. And
Mhm.
I'm also somebody who, like, I'm an oldest daughter. When it's time for my parents to retire, I'm going to need to help them. I need to help my siblings. I need to help my nieces and nephews. Like, I'm kind of the one who is going to be the one who needs to help everybody else. And so also a
Mhm.
lot of what I'm doing is so that I can be able to be in a position to help them and support them in the ways that they will need and that I would like to do. But it definitely comes at a cost for sure.
For sure. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I wake up sometimes and I'm like, yo, we really are the adults. Like, I
Yeah.
still can't believe the responsibilities and the things. I'm like, and I was never one of those like people growing up that I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till I'm 18 or I'm 16. I can't
Mm-mm.
wait to like, I was never that person. Like,
Same.
but now I'm just like, if I can go back, oh my gosh, I would just cherish those moments so much more because like you said, like being an adult, you have so many things you have to worry about. Like I think same about like my siblings and the things and responsibilities I'm going to have in the near future and trying to prepare for that on top of just living everyday life is
Yeah,
just a constant struggle.
Yeah, I
exactly.
think there's something to really be said about like missing monumental moments. And we always see it in the movies and stuff. But when you are chasing like, your version of success, you end up missing so many pivotal like family moments because you can't fly out every birthday, or you can't just drive down the block to see your family. And those things, in real time, it's like, "Oh, it's fine, it's just a birthday," but in retrospect, it's like, "Dang, we really do sacrifice a lot," whether it's, we're chasing to make our podcast a number 1, or you're chasing to get that new job or whatever, and I think there's something so important to be said about, like, making sure there's a balance between the 2, and you're not just in this hustle culture, you know?
Yeah, and I think in sacrificing, I feel like it's so important when we realize like those moments where we kind of have to do things behind the scenes just to continue to build the momentum and the longevity. Not to say that you're not going to be tired from getting to that next level of success, but more or less like what it is that we do for ourselves to pour into ourselves so that we're able to keep pushing, even if it's like a little fuel you have. Like I know for me, sleep is definitely something that like is being sacrificed, but I have to go to the gym. Like, that's like a non-negotiable. Like, if I'm not in the gym and it's not even about, "Oh, I want the ab." Yes, I want the abs and the fatty for sure, but it's a mental thing. Like, I'm in there just making sure I'm getting my mental on point because I think when you do that, it prepares you for so much. When I'm not in the gym, I feel it. I really
Yeah.
feel it. I don't know if you ladies kinda, like, feel the same way. Well, I know Les, like, you're also big in wellness, and I know, Crystal, you're in the gym as well, but, like, for me, girl, I'm just in there, like, pep talking to myself, but it's not even just about the workout, it's about life. Like, "You got this.
Hmm.
You could get through this. You need to, like, keep pushing."
Yeah, I think the having an outlet where you can kinda, like, turn it off is very important. So what that looks like for you could be very everybody's outlet is very different. I think for me, it's like watching TV shows, but, like, having an outlet where I can say, "Okay, I'm gonna literally turn it off," because even, like, scrolling on social media sometimes, I say, like, "Oh, this is like my fun time," but the reality is most of the time I'm in there doing research, and I'm like, "I
Hmm.
turn it off, Crystal, like, just turn it off." So for me, it's I love the gym, but I love just, like, turning on a TV show and unplugging. Because I think that another thing too, it's like, as we're chasing success and we're in this, like, hustle culture, there's always, like, a sort of feeling that once you check something off, you're on to the next thing. Like, there's
Mhm.
also a pressure of constantly leveling up that comes with it. It almost makes me feel like, "Dang, am I never gonna be satisfied?"
My hot take though is I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. And who knows? Maybe I drank too much of Emma Green's Kool-Aid. I don't know. But I think like when you are an intelligent person who knows that you have more gas in the tank, I do think part of the human condition is a little bit of like, well, what am I capable of? And what can I do next? Oh, I did this. That's amazing. I wonder if I can do that. I think that there's a way to balance it, no pun intended, where I think it's natural to want to continue improving yourself. The same way if we talk about the gym, if you reach a point where you're doing bicep curls with 15 pounds and that gets easy, at some point you're going to want to up the weight. Being able to do that kind of in your mind and with your life without it being like detrimental. I don't think everything has to be this like relentless pursuit of doing more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with like wanting more as long as it doesn't come at the expense of other people or your well-being.
I like that perspective because sometimes I'm like, dang, why do I have all this ambition in me? Like, why can't I just be happy with living in a farm somewhere in the middle of Florida? You know, like,
Because
because
that's
sometimes I'm
boring
like,
as
right.
you would be bored.
No, literally, and that's the answer. And that's the answer. But like, you know, in the times where you feel like where you feeling like doubtful or whatever, you're like, dang, like, why can't I just be happy with what I have? No, because you're right, because
Yeah.
it is boring as to be in a farm and doing nothing.
Yeah,
That
I
Yeah.
is
used to feel
exactly
that
why.
way. Like my first job out of college, I worked at this like very big corporate company, and it's the type of company where people go and they stay for years. Like they stay their whole career. You work there
Mm,
for 30 years and you stay there for life. And I hated it. And I remember having that conversation with myself of like, why can't I just be satisfied with this? I got this job straight out of college. I could stay here for 40 years. I could buy a house in the suburbs and marry some medium ugly man and have 2.5 medium ugly kids by now and just be in the same job and be satisfied with it. But
right.
also, I know myself and I know that if I did that, I would be fucking miserable. I think like
Mm,
if you're not satisfied by something, it means that there's just something else out there for you. And
yeah.
I think the
Mhm.
sooner that I started making peace with that, the less like struggle I felt with it.
Mhm. And with
Yeah.
that, obviously, we have to make sure that we are maintaining ourselves and our longevity in this hustle and this journey to find, you know, the next thing. And I would love to know what that looks like for you guys behind the scenes. Like, what does your infrastructure look like to make sure that you are, you know, in your best mental and physical well-being to keep going?
I think I feel very grateful that wellness has always been like at the core of what I do. I kind of stumbled upon wellness when I was in my like late teens and early 20s. So I don't know what it's like to be an adult who like doesn't work out and who doesn't meditate and have those practices because I started it at a very young age. But I also think something that's really helpful for me is having a more seasonal approach to everything that I do. And I mean that for big seasons, and I also mean that for little seasons. So if I talk about big seasons, when I think about my 20s were very much like me being in corporate, building a kind of foundation for myself, learning key skills. My 30s have been more of like my build kind of hustle years, not relentlessly, but yeah, I work a lot and I work hard and I'm building a lot of things. But I don't intend to do that in the same way in my 40s. I tend to still work and do creative projects, but have kind of a slower body of work where I won't be podcasting and creating social media content in the same way. I want to write books and I want to create TV shows and I want to have bodies of work that take longer. And so I think having the approach of I'm doing this to reach a point so that I can do something else is really helpful for me because that also helps you understand when enough is enough.
Another thing when it comes to like success and being so lucky, something else that comes at a cost is dating. What dating looks like, figuring out who's dating for what reason. So for and this we can pose this question for all of us, but like, do you think that people love you guys or like the idea of you because they see your podcast, because they see you hosting a red carpet, Amanda? Like, what is the dating minefield look like for you? And like, what are some things that you feel like you have to question now because of what you do in your career?
Yeah, I think dating, honestly, from my perspective, because I'm in a relationship, and I'm gonna be honest, dating looks different in all the stages that you're in. Like currently, I was literally thinking the other day, I was like, we've been so busy, we haven't actually gone on a physical date since like before my birthday. And I get, and honestly, I know some people will probably feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to be dating every week. I need to be doing this and getting flowers and this, that, and the third. And I feel like because both myself and my boyfriend are entrepreneurs, like we know like when we're in different seasons where we're trying to like probably get something off the ground. Like I know he's working on different projects. I'm working on different projects. So we require different things of each other, but you have to be kind of okay with that, right? As it relates to, you know, my love life, I definitely know based on like certain things that have transpired that he loves me for who I am versus the idea of who I can be. And it's not a potential thing. And I wish
Mhm.
women, we kind of started really dating people for where they are currently and not where we see the aspirations of where they're going to be. They may not get there.
And if they get there, they may not stay with you.
That part,
That's a
that
good
part.
point.
Are
That
you
is
a
a very
stepping
good
stone
point.
to get them to where they want to be? And then once they get there, then what are they going to do?
Right.
Listen,
Right.
that's so real. You know what's so funny? I think when you saying that, Les, there's so many women, and I feel like I'm not gonna lie, I've said it at some point too, where we're like, the woman that gets him is gonna benefit so much because of what I put in. Sometimes I look at it like, you know what? It doesn't work out, and that's fine. Feel like we need to do is just like love the way we want to love, protect our heart, but don't feel a sense of like entitlement to a person based on the good things that you did for them.
I mean, there's the sunk cost fallacy of it all, where it's so easy to stay in things because of the time that you put in or because you feel like you put a certain amount of investment in. I mean, I almost like to think of it like Social Security. It's like a pool that we all contribute to. You know what I mean? Everybody who we've been with, we leave them better than they were before. And at some point, you're hopefully going to benefit from that as well. You know,
Les,
it's
that is
all
hilarious that you call these men social security.
that's the way I think of it,
Listen,
you
No,
know?
but that's a you know what? That is a positive perspective to have because, honey, I heard it is crazy out there in the field, and women are putting in
girl.
work on these men, and then they're leaving and doing their own thing, and it's just a hot mess out there. I also am in a relationship, um, but for me, I think I experienced like before being in a relationship a lot of interest because of what I do, and not because of me. Because
Mm,
Lord knows I'm a spoiled brat behind the scenes, so I'm like, "You don't really like me, I know you don't like me. You like what you see, and that's why you keep asking me to build." Oh my god, biggest red flag, "Let's build." Go away, sir. I am not
Yeah.
one to
yeah,
build.
we don't want that.
Absolutely not. But Les, I think you had posted something on social media where you were talking about how, like, being in a relationship or, like, dating was kind of, like, on your mood board for the year and, like, for the first time in a long time, that is not the case for you. And I'd love to know, like, since you put that down and, like, taken that off your list, do you feel like now it's just coming organically? And when it does come, like, what does that look like for you as a woman who has such a big platform and a voice?
Yeah, I think that was maybe like the end of 2024 was when everyone was doing their Pinterest vision boards and I was doing mine. It was like my first time not putting a couple on it. I guess that was 2024 going into 2025. Do I feel like that has helped it organically happened? No, it has not, because nothing has changed since then. But I have also realized that, like, for me, dating is just not a super big priority for me. Like, I'm not somebody who does it a lot and I'm like okay with it. Like, it's just not interesting. It's not a priority. I mean, I have an open mind, I have an open heart. Like, if I meet someone interesting or that I'm attracted to, I'm all for it. But I, in no way do I feel a need to like be in pursuit of it, nor do I feel
Mhm,
like anything is like missing because that's not a big part of my life. But I also think that just comes with like time and age and maturity and like knowing what you want. And so even if it's like, do men like me because of my platform? I wouldn't even know.
mm.
Wouldn't even know. I don't even talk to them. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just one of those things where, yeah, it's like not a super big part of my life.
And that's
And
very refreshing
listen,
to hear.
yeah, and I was gonna say when that time comes, it's gonna I'm hoping it's gonna be as beautiful as it needs to be for you because I agree. I think sometimes like things are just not important and it's totally okay because we're building, we're growing and when it is important, listen, the universe and God is gonna make sure you see it clear and it's gonna come in the
Yeah.
best possible way. So that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, like I'm not tripping over looking for somebody who's not looking for me, you know? And
That
so
part.
I just don't think that there needs to be this energy of like a constant, like, gotta have, gotta pursue, gotta go on all these dates, gotta do. I'm like, I would actually kind of rather hang out with my friends and
Yeah.
read a good book. Like, honestly, there have been so many times where I've been out on dates and I'm like, oh, I would have had way more fun just staying home. That was a
Yeah.
better use of my time.
No,
No, for
and
sure.
literally, I think that I mean, it's also like our age and like society. So people always feel pressure, like I gotta freeze my eggs. I gotta start dating. I gotta find a man. And it's like it's very refreshing to hear from somebody who is not male centered because it's very often where I'm out and like I might be at a table and the table next to me, all the girls are talking about like men, and I'm like, can we talk about something else? Like, can we not make them the
That's
center of
real.
Yeah.
attention? That's why they think they're the catch because they're constantly the center of attention even when they're not in the room.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just so, like, boring. I mean, I know I was talking to some friends a few months ago, and someone was kind of, experiencing something with, like, a gentleman that she was dating where he kinda wasn't acting right, but he was trying to get it together, and he had said something along the lines of, like, something that she was doing was, like, really inspiring him to, like, do something different, and I'm like, "Oh, that's great. When was the last time he inspired you?
Mm,
What has a man ever inspired you to do?
that part.
Because all they've inspired me to do is stay single, personally.
I'm
Clock it.
When was the
screaming.
last time a man left you feeling inspired? Every time that
Yeah,
I'm inspired, it's by something dope that I see a woman do.
That's a good
Like,
yeah,
point.
what
yeah.
what? What is there to even center? They're just
Yeah.
kinda
Nothing.
there, and that's fine, but they're
Yeah.
just there, you know?
Mhm.
I agree. I agree. And honestly, I say this all the time. I'm like, your girlfriends are your soulmates too. I love that women like how we pour into each other and how we do all the things because it's needed. And especially with us being like public facing women and like having these social platforms and these, these different voices and what we do, like there's a mental cost that comes with that. Right. And I would love to hear from both of you guys' perspective. Have you guys ever felt like you couldn't like break down and really just have that moment because of the way people kind of view you? And it could be people that don't even know you truly.
Yeah, I think I only feel that way with people who don't know me. But I also think, and maybe this isn't good, but I think I've gotten really good at compartmentalizing. So for me, when I think about public facing things and social media, even podcasting, like that's a job. That's clocking in from 9 to 5. The same way I probably ideally wouldn't want to break down if I was still working in the office. Like I don't want to go on Instagram and break down. I'm also very grateful to have people in my life offline who I do feel like I can call and talk to in those instances where it's like I don't even want the public to like see that because
Yeah.
Mhm.
honestly it makes me feel worse. Like I've done it and I've shared the vulnerable crying videos and 10 out of 10 times I feel worse than I did in the beginning.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think for me, I kind of like having a little bit of separation where it's like, yeah, people can think that things are Gucci. And it doesn't mean that I'm being fake on the internet, but like to an extent, that is a character. That's not the
Yeah.
full totality of who I am. And the full totality of who I am, I keep for people who know me in real life.
Yeah, you have to have a little something to yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel I admire people who are able to show, like, all their emotions and stuff online, and I think it definitely fuels a lot of people, and it definitely, like, heals a lot of people, but I do agree, like, I approach social media from a standpoint of this is work, um, so yeah, maybe I will, like, share those moments, but I do think that the people who are closest to me, I'm able to be my most authentic self, fully unclothed, nothing like, this is just me at the bare core, and not feel judged for it. And I think it's so
Yeah.
important to have, like, even if it's just one person that you can be that way with, that you really just let it all hang and just let it all out because it's healing. Like sometimes we keep things in, and I feel like we need to just be able to just like, girl, I'm going through it. What should
Mhm.
I do?
Yes.
Yeah. No, same. I think public facing, I maybe I also have gotten really good with compartmentalizing, but like I'm very much like public facing, never let them see a sweat.
Mm,
Nobody
yep.
ever. Like
Same.
That's also why, like, my social media doesn't do that good because I'm very not vulnerable on social media, and I need to get better about that, and, like, figuring out, okay, like, this piece I can share, this piece I cannot share. For me, I'm very much like, nothing personal. However, behind the scenes, I'm banging pots and pans on my head, like, freaking out with the people that's close to me, and I'm, like, spiraling, and I'm crashing out about things because, and one thing, it's like something that I said the other days, which kinda, like, made me give myself a little more grace was, like, I'm building a business for the first time. I'm a
Yeah.
first-time college student, first-time
Yeah.
college graduate. Like, I'm first generation in a lot of things, and I'm like, I need to chill out. Like, I need to chill out because I'm very hard on myself mentally, behind the scenes, but in front of the scenes when I'm on. And yeah, I don't feel like I can ever, sometimes I wanna be sassy about certain things that happen, but I'm like, "I'm a business owner. Sorry, can't do it." Like, keep it very
Yeah.
cute. And I'm kinda, like, very old school in that way, and I feel like we all are here.
Agreed.
And I don't think that's a bad thing, though. And I think some of my biggest regrets are being a little too vulnerable on social media because I don't think that it does the healing for us or the audience that we think it does. I think it creates a space for people to commiserate and continue to
Mm,
feed off of negativity. And I think that there are ways to show your humanity that don't involve like broadcasting every time you're down horrendous. Because I notice every time I've done that, it has just attracted miserable people, honestly, and it's not
Mhm.
mm,
and I feel so much more supported when I'm actually talking to and being poured into from people who understand me, from mentors, from fellow creatives and entrepreneurs who actually understand, as opposed to then having a bunch of either people who wanna feel validated in the things that are also not going well for them, which is why that content tends to do so well, or then inviting in so many opinions and criticisms from the peanut gallery of people who actually don't understand what you're going through. Um,
Mhm.
and so I think that there is a dance there where we can be a little funny, we can be a little goofy, we can show that humanity. But I actually think that like saving those moments for truly safe spaces, and the internet is not a safe space, no matter how much we like to think it is, it's not. I think being in truly safe spaces for those moments of vulnerability is more important.
We already know social media plays such a big role in not only our lives, but, everybody's freaking life. Everybody has social media. So, what are some things that you are gatekeeping right now from your social media following in a fun, lighthearted way?
In a fun, lighthearted way. Ooh, I would say, I've been doing a lot more writing, which is, really, really fun, working on writing some fiction. I'm in creative writing classes right now, and I'm just really strengthening my muscles as a writer. And so I've enjoyed sharing that with, like, other writers so that I can improve my
Mhm.
craft, but it's not something that I'm publishing publicly for everybody to get their thoughts around. So, yeah, I would say my writer's journey is something that I'm gatekeeping from social media for the time being.
I love
I
that.
love
I
that.
love that. Yes, and congrats on your writing journey. I love that. I think
Thank you.
from a social media standpoint, because we are in the oversharing season right now. So I do agree with the girls saying we do need to keep some things. Not I'm not sharing the spots I frequent every day. So I feel like I gatekeep those things like, my favorite spots to go to all the time. Like I don't want and I post I'm already a person that posts like weeks later after I've already left a place, like, or days later. Like, I don't believe
Mhm.
in real time posting at all
It's
for
for
your safety.
safety.
Yeah. Gatekeeping where I'm at. You guys won't
Right.
find me.
Okay. I mean, I'm this is hard for me because I feel like I gatekeep everything because literally I feel like I'm such a, like, I can't find that balance of, like, sharing this and not sharing that. It's
Crystal,
very
what's
weird
your
for me.
sign?
I'm an Aries.
Okay, you're an
Yeah.
Aries. Okay.
We
Yeah,
both are actually.
You're both
but we're
Aries.
so
Oh my
opposite.
goodness.
Yeah.
Wait, that's so
We have the
fun.
same birthday.
Very.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Wait, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Fun
but we're
fact.
very opposite. Like, it's
Yeah.
the funniest thing ever. Um,
Literally.
but Amanda's also from Florida. She's a Southern Belle, and I'm from New
Yeah.
York, so can you blame me?
You consider Florida like, I don't consider Miami Southern Belle. I don't consider Florida
Baby.
Southern Belle.
More
You think
Southern
so?
Belle than New York, honey.
No.
Okay, now, what is everybody romanticizing in life right now?
Mm.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah, I'm
I
like, let me think about
am
this.
Yeah.
romanticizing my drives to work with my coffee, just me, my coffee, my music, and just like really vibing. I'm not posting it
I
on
love
social
that.
media. However, I'm romanticizing it because if you think about it, right? Like sometimes we look at videos of people, driving to work and like, oh my God, they're got like they romanticize their, simple thing so well. And I'm like, why don't we do that with the simple things in our life? So for me right now, it's
Mm,
like romanticizing my car drive to work.
Okay, I've been romanticizing my post-workout recovery because here's the thing. As you get older, what you used to get away with just leaving the gym right after the workout, not stretching and stuff. You listen, today's price is not yesterday's price and your body will pay. So I now
Mhm.
have to stretch and cool down and recover post workout every day. But I've been
yeah.
forcing myself to romanticize it. Like I've been using more of the recovery tools in my gym, doing a little post workout stretch to a good playlist. I will sit and use the compression boots in the gym, but I'll use that. I'll like habit stack it with my reading time because I usually like to exercise and read for at least 30 minutes before going on social media every day. So I'll use the compression boots while I'm reading to kind of habit stack that. So
Mm.
I've been romanticizing that for
That's
my
Habit.
amazing.
achy
I like that
muscles.
though.
Yeah, no, that's good. 2 things at once. I love that.
hmm
Okay, and then last question before we go, Les. We always like to leave our listeners with a little elevation nugget. So if you have one that you'd like to share, like just some inspiring words to help them keep going, or any tools that you think they should implement in their life that can help them elevate. You just said habit stacking. I'm like, what? Maybe I need to do that. Maybe I need to habit
Right.
stack. What would be your elevation message?
My elevation message. I think we spend too much time looking for people outside of us to have the answers when I think the answers are often already in us and the answers are in what we're avoiding. It's in that task that we're avoiding, it's in that consistency that we're avoiding, it's in that thing that we know we want to do but we want other people to give us permission. Nobody outside of you
Mm.
has more answers than you.
I love that. That's so good. So good.
Drops mic. Les, thank you so much for coming on our elevators episode this week. We honestly love talking with you. We really much appreciated you sharing your insight and your perspective on things. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope the listeners enjoyed it. I know they enjoyed it. So make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and share this
That's right.
episode with somebody you think it could help, because that's what elevating is all about.
Thank you for having me. So if you guys want to keep in touch with me, you can listen to She's So Lucky every Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow me on Instagram at Les Alfred, and you can follow me on TikTok at The Lucky Les.